What do the war in the Middle East,
The United States and Israel are intensifying their bombing of Iran.
this huge hole in Germany, and just about the entire global tech industry have in common? It's this. Yes, helium. In March 2016, the Ras Laffan site in Qatar, which alone accounts for 1/3 of the global production, is hit by Iranian drones. Production suddenly stops. As a result, in the middle of the crisis, the price of this gas doubles. Semiconductor factories that depend on it, in Taiwan, South Korea, China, begin to panic. And no one saw it coming. Well, not exactly. Helium is the great hidden player of the global economy, and yet it is everywhere. It stabilizes temperatures in semiconductor manufacturing, powers MRI machines, and secures rocket launches. It is abundant in the universe, but on Earth it is rare. It is trapped in small quantities in certain natural gas fields, particularly in Qatar, and its production takes time. It is impossible to increase supply quickly, while demand cannot wait. This is why, 10 years ago, French group Air Liquide made a rather bold bet. It is 2016 and the helium market is already under strain. A first crisis had hit the sector in 2012.
A global helium shortage is resulting in higher prices and concerns for the future.
Air Liquide decided not to wait for the next one. It invested in a gigantic helium storage site 1,300 meters underground to preserve the equivalent of 1 year of helium demand. A bet that seemed very cautious at the time and which 10 years later looks visionary. In the middle of today's crisis, Air Liquide has a real advantage to meet its commitments towards customers, protect margins, and benefit from the rise in helium prices. The company's stock was also rising when the CAC 40 was falling. Air Liquide is a great example of a company that has managed risk well. And in business, managing risk is essential, whether it is geopolitical, climate-related, technological, or financial. To protect oneself, of course, but increasingly also to remain competitive. And business leaders understand this well.
And business is business.
A study conducted by COFAS among 1,250 senior decision makers in 13 countries paints the picture. Almost half see risk as something to optimize, 24% as something to be controlled, 19% as a competitive advantage, and only 12% as something to minimize. Today, companies are no longer looking only for protection. They want to be one step ahead. 77% want predictive insights. But in practice, very few organizations are truly structured to anticipate. Barely a quarter of executives involve risk teams at the idea stage. Decisions are slow, and risk data is fragmented. The intention exists, but execution does not always follow. In the end, the Ras Laffan site was no secret, nor were the tensions in the Middle East and the dependence on Qatari helium. What made the difference was anticipation.